Here are the details of those stories. Now, the Ghana Grid Company has announced what it calls power curtailment due to shortage of power. The company says increased demand for electricity and non-availability of some generators in the power system is responsible for the occasional curtailment of power across the country.
The non-availability of some generators in the power system has resulted in the occasional curtailment of power across the country. We have not announced a load shedding program, but as and when there was a need, because of the tight situation we have in terms of demand and supply, anytime there was a fault on the available generators, then we've had to request the ECG to shed some little load to keep the whole transmission system intact.
So if that is the case, then why do you say this is not load shedding?
Load shedding planned and sustained management of available generation is advertised so that everybody will know when and where. But a few challenges from the generators on occasional basis, and that's why once in a while we go out. If we know, if we can foretell that in the next 2 weeks this generator will not be available, there will be no fault on this generator or that generator, we will be in a position to advertise that.
Away from power generation, the Tema Development Corporation says no victim of the Ajekojo demolition exercise has at the close of today, Wednesday, 5th February, provided documents to claim ownership of the land. The TDC challenged residents to produce documents proving their ownership of the land in exchange for compensation after it demolished tens of buildings there.
The Tema Development Corporation on the 21st and 22nd January 2013 embarked on a demolition exercise at Sraha East, rendering over 200 families homeless. The exercise, according to the TDC, was part of measures being implemented to acquire back the 740 acres of government land encroached by residents. Many of the affected residents claimed they had required permits from the TDC before building their structures.
We do the process from TDC to TMA.
Did they give you approval?
Yes, they give us approval. That's the document that I showed to you.
Some of us, when we started the project, we have to inquire from TDC whether we can go on with the project. For instance, I went there, I met the task force leader, Anthony Kratus. So I asked him that I want to do some project over there. What should I do? He said there's no problem, I should go on and do the project.
The TDC, in response, issued a statement which challenged affected persons who have title to the land as per an offer letter, right of entry, and a site plan and the requisite building permits covering the structures to produce documents for compensation. But over the period, TDC says no such documents have been presented to the corporation. Speaking to Joynews off camera, Public Relations Officer Dorothy Asari Kuma stressed the corporation is ready to compensate any person who is able to produce legal documents claiming ownership of the land. Meanwhile, the chiefs of the disputed land have assured they are making available all documents to proceed to court.
The problem is the contention of the land, the ownership of the land. And as it stands now, the person who can determine, or the institution that can determine the ownership of the land, is the court. So that TDC provides their document, we provide our document, and the court of competence jurisdiction then decides who is the rightful owner. Oh, definitely, we've piled up the documents. You can see maps around the whole place. You can see documents around the whole place. So then we got a document, we get our facts right. When we get our facts right, it shouldn't take that long.
Matilda Pamaga for Joynews.
Meanwhile, Chairman of the Works and Housing Committee of Parliament has blamed the Ajekojo demolition on land guards in the Greater Accra region after they met with the TDC on Tuesday. David Assuming blamed the situation on illegal sales and acquisition of land. He spoke to Joynews' Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, Emmanuel.
Over 200 houses have been demolished at Ajekojo in Tema. The backlash has seen Parliament Committee on Works and Housing investigating the matter. The Tema Development Corporation, TDC, was summoned before the committee to justify the demolition exercise, which rendered many homeless in Ajekojo, a suburb of Tema. According to the chairman of the committee, David Asumeng, TDC proved beyond reasonable doubt that the land in question belongs to them.
The fact is that we will not want to condone and connive with, impunities in the system. We must allow our structures to work. But that notwithstanding, there are people who are giving out land without authority. Most people there are there illegally. And so land guards are protecting them to carry out their duties. And so we are saying that no, people must acquire land, legally. I realize that most of them acquire the land not through any fault of theirs. Yesterday at the meeting, it came to light that some ex-officials of TDC even sold land to people. And there was an evidence yesterday of somebody who acquired some plots of land from officials of TDC. And so if they have their titles to the land, we want to see all those documents.
The chairman also indicated the committee is at a disadvantage since the matter has not been officially referred to them. But he quickly hinted the Member of Parliament for the area, Irene Natoshi, plans to intervene.
The Member of Parliament for that area, Honorable Natoshi, came to the committee and informed us that she was going to petition Parliament on the issue. And so we are also hoping that when the petition is delivered to the Speaker, it will in turn refer to the Committee on Works and Housing, of which we shall be handling. And so we are expecting to take delivery of this petition and then invite all the persons concerned for us to see how we can, arrive at some conclusion as far as the demolition exercise in that area is concerned.
The committee will soon meet with the affected persons to hear their side of the story.
Well, the Committee on Roads and Transport in Parliament has also met with the Minister of Roads and Highways in their quest to find a solution to the controversy surrounding the newly introduced University of Ghana road tolls. The Roads and Transport Committee has been tight-lipped about what transpired at the meeting, but Joynews sources in Parliament indicate government is making frantic efforts to pay the debt incurred in the construction of the road.
The first Deputy Speaker of Parliament on Tuesday requested the Select Committee on Roads and Transport in Parliament to investigate and report to the House on the University of Ghana road toll saga. On Wednesday, February 5, the committee met with the Roads and Highways Minister and some officials of the ministry to gather information on how the decision to toll roads was arrived at. It was also to quiz him on the legality of the actions taken. Speaking to Joynews after the almost 2 hours meeting with the minister and his officials, the vice chairman of the Roads and Transport Committee, Tete Chai, said progress has been made.
To be honest with you, I would like to assure the general public there is progress. In fact, judging from what the Minister for Roads and Highways told us, the government is also making a lot of behind-the-scenes activities, and definitely you get to know of it. The issues of legality came up. And we brought out the various allies, the various in that set up the university. And, we have a lot of lawyers amongst us who are also brainstorming to look at the issues. So we've taken a position. People have also taken positions on the issue. But then after we've met with our professors or the university authorities, and then they also giving us their version of the whole issue, then we can strike a balance.
A member of the committee, Joseph Wusu, was in support of the decision of the university to collect the road toll.
I'm surprised at the reaction of Ghanaians. All the lecture rooms, the hostels that are on the campuses throughout the country, the government universities, public universities, were they not built by Ghana, the government of Ghana? But students are charged facility user fee. How different is that from charging people from using at the University of Ghana roads, the ones passing through their campus from one gate to the other gate to the other exit? Are they public roads? They are the university's private roads.
Information gathered from a reliable source said the minister informed the committee on the plans of government taking over the total cost of the construction of the road. The committee is billed to meet the University of Ghana authorities on Friday.
So if you believe in miracles, visitors to Adomfe in Asante Akim South say they plan to extend their stay till they get their share of water from the borehole. It is now the most prized asset in the community. Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin reports the samples of the water have been taken for testing.
With a population of about 6,000, Adomfe's poverty levels are high. Residents say farming has not redeemed them from poverty, and the discovery of the healing water is therefore a miracle. The famous miracle borehole is believed to have many healing powers and has since been attracting hundreds of miracle-seeking people from far and near. They stream in every day in their numbers to get a share of it. Water from the borehole is unlike any other water, though it is also colorless. The water tastes salty and is not good for washing because it does not foam. But this does not deter people who previously regarded the borehole water as not good enough. They have hopes water from the borehole is a solution to their problem. Miracle seekers wait in long queues, buying the water at 10 Ghana cedis for visitors and 1 Ghana cedis for residents. The money, according to the unit committee chairman, is intended to be used in maintaining the mechanized borehole and provide bigger storage facility. The miracle water has created a booming business in the area. But who told the people of Adomfe about the healing powers of the borehole? Wilberforce Obenyan is a member of the Water Sanitation Committee in the community. He said testimonies of people healed after drinking the water established sufficient evidence that the borehole has healing powers. Sample of the water has already been taken by health officials of the Asante Akim South District Assembly and the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology to test its medicinal properties. Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin's report from the Ashanti region.
Obviously, for the believers in miracles. Now, experts are worried that Ghana faces a serious national identity management crisis in the coming years due to the multiplicity of national biometric data collection agencies. There are currently 7 state agencies creating and providing data on identities of Ghanaians. There are also fears that data from these 7 institutions, if not synchronized, could lead to data misinformation and an increase in criminal activity.
It is very common to see Ghanaians with more than one form of identification, either a driver's license, a passport, a national health insurance, among others. Perhaps the latest addition to the multiplicity of national identification cards will be the soon-to-be introduced SNIT biometric card. The purpose of these cards ensure true identity of a person. So one wonders why these cards cannot be synchronized.
We should be thinking about synchronizing the databases so that when the individual produces an ID card, one institution can link into the database directly to be sure that this is the individual who say who he is.
For the head of the public affairs at the National Identification Authority, Betta Jeble, the overarching reason why the authority was instituted was to serve as the central agency where data on all Ghanaians can be collected for use by the rest of the other government data collection agencies. But this ideal, she laments, seems to have been forgotten.
The main purpose of introducing the national ID system was to have a central civil registry database where all institutions will take biometric data to populate their own databases. There's no need, actually, for all institutions to collect biometric data individually. If this system were complete as it was planned, all they needed to do was to just demand the individual's personal identification number. That is the key thing we should be focusing on.
The NIA has so far captured 17 million records of Ghanaians, processed 3 million cards, and distributed 900,000, thus making it by far the most reliable organization to have data on Ghanaians. It is believed once the NIA is strengthened to carry out its work in an efficient and timely manner, it will serve as the most credible agency with data on Ghanaians. For the chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Communications, Herod Kobina, there is one too many biometric registration cards for Ghanaians.
It has been so for quite a long time because these institutions come on their own. And we are beginning to realize that if all of them come under one umbrella, it will serve a very good purpose for this nation. In this sense, we will tend to preserve revenue, costs, and all the materials that will be needed for individual identification exercises. When government combines them together, I think it will be of good essence to the nation, and the benefits are enormous. So I believe that a time will come when the attention will be drawn to such unionization of these ID cards under one umbrella.
Some are advocating Parliament comes out with a legislative instrument to synchronize all the national biometric cards in the country. Eric Curtis Howard, Joynews, Accra.
Let's deal with security issues now. The Accra Region Police Command says it has beefed up security at Agape and surrounding communities at Ablekuma in the Greater Accra region following threats by armed robbers. According to the Accra Region Police Commander, DCOP Christian Tete Yohunu, no major robbery incident has been reported in these areas since security was intensified.
The police confirmed a gang calling itself Armed Robbers Association posted notices on walls in the Agape and surrounding neighborhoods demanding 500 cedis from each household. Residents were to send money via MTN mobile money by December 30, 2013 or face attack. The deadline given has passed and residents now live in fear. But the police say residents have no cause to be alarmed.
The residents inform us, police went to the scene. We inspected a number of houses that had those notices. And then from there, we intensified patrols there, both from that end up to the end of Amasama. This threat came November. We went through December. They should have come out to meet the police because we are always within that community. So all that we are assuring Ghanaians is that the police are up to the task. We have our men on the ground. We have intelligence on the ground. And I'm sure very soon, all those faceless people who are making the noise about forming armed robbery association, then the police will ever prepared to handle them.
DCOP Yohonu tells Joynews police intelligence has led to the arrest of one of the suspected robbers.
In the middle of December, we had one notorious hardened armed robber by name Samiru. He was arrested. There was a fire exchange between him and the police, and then he was overpowered and arrested. And so he's facing court action. We retrieved weapons, several weapons, pump action guns, and then foreign pistols that were retrieved from him. And he has been facing court action.
The police is calling on citizens to be security conscious and be forthcoming with useful tips that can help the police crack down on criminals. DCOP Yohonu is encouraging citizens to memorize police emergency numbers 191, 18555 and 0302 773906 and use them when they or their neighbors are in trouble.
It is a primetime bulletin here on Joy News on Multi TV, also on ABN TV. We'll take a quick breather here. We'll return with some more news. Welcome back. According to the WHO's World Cancer Report 2014, 14 million people a year are diagnosed with cancer. Among the risk factors include smoking, alcohol, obesity and inactivity. Today, Mariam Toure explores the role of obesity and inactivity in increasing cancer cases in Ghana.
The World Health Organization is predicting cancer cases to increase to 19 million by 2025, 22 million by 2030, and 24 million by 2035, with the developing world bearing the brunt of the extra cases. According to the medically accepted definition, body mass index BMI is a measurement of the relative percentage of fat and muscle mass in the human body, in which weight in kilograms is divided by height in meters square. The result is used as an index of obesity, with an index of 20 to 25 considered to be normal. Professor Jonat Clegg-Lamte, head of the Department of Surgery and Surgical Sub-BMC at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, explains a study which is due to complete in 2 years will come up with an actual risk factor for Ghana in determining the BMI.
Unfortunately, we don't have a Ghanaian definition of obesity, so we tend to go along with what the world says it is. But currently we have there's a Ghana breast health study which is being carried out in Kolebu, in Komfanochi, and in Peace and Love Hospital, together with researchers from the US. And it's a very big study, and we are enrolling a lot of patients as well as controls. And so in about 2 years' time or so, when this project ends, we will come out with actual risk factors for Ghana, not what we've learned from abroad.
For most countries, breast cancer is the most common cancer in women, with about a third of these cancers said to be preventable through maintaining a healthy weight, eating a healthy diet, and being physically active. Professor Clegg-Lamte explains the correlation between obesity, inactivity, and cancer.
For the obese patient, first of all, I've said that one, they don't move around enough. So that's the first thing. So it doesn't work just through obesity, but because you are doing less activity, your whole body system slows down. Then again, it comes to the metabolism of the obese person. Sometimes you eat the wrong things. You eat a lot of fat in your diet. So the fat metabolism also leads to certain end products which are not good for you, and then therefore can predispose you not just to cancer but to other diseases as well.
Professor Clegg-Lamte says smoking and alcohol accounts for most cases in Ghana.
But smoking is perhaps the more guilty of the two, because smoking will cause cancers in the mouth, in the throat, in the gullet, in the stomach, in the liver, and alcohol does the same wherever it passes. The truth of the fact is that it's not just the smoker, but the passive smoker as well. So if you are smoking and I'm sitting with you, I'm exposing myself to the same cancers just by passively inhaling in the smoke.
Though there are several legislations banning and regulating alcohol use and public smoking in Ghana, its enforcement remains a challenge. With regards to living a healthy lifestyle, it beholds on each of us to make a conscious effort to eat right and quit being couch potatoes. A few minutes of walking a day will keep the cancer cells at bay. For Joynews, Marian Toure reporting.
Healthy lifestyle it is. Still with health after 10 years of existence, the National Health Insurance Scheme is still grappling with several challenges. Paramount among these challenges are revenue mobilization and delays in paying service providers. Public health expert Professor Irene Japan has been sharing with Joynews some useful strategies to make the scheme more efficient.
Delays in paying service providers has forced some health centers to go back to the cash and carry system, while others have refused to attend to NHIS card bearers. The King's Medical Center in Kumbugu in the northern region, for instance, closed its doors to patients holding NHIS cards earlier this week. According to authorities of the facility, the National Health Insurance Authority has not paid them for their services for close to a year. Experts say increasing revenue has become crucial and managers of the scheme must find innovative ways to mobilize funds. According to Professor Irene Japan, one way this could be achieved is through modification of the registration process.
In fact, when there were debates going on about raising VAT, I actually thought that at least some small 0.5 or 1% would have been added to the 2.5% VAT, which would have helped. But I guess there were probably other considerations, and that was not done. The bigger question is the non-formal, the non-SNET sector. How do you improve your mobilization of funds? The more people who come to renew their card or enroll, the more money you'll get even in these small pools of money. So I would say that one creative strategy to try to improve the resource is actually to change the registration system. Do a door-to-door registration system. It is very possible. In the pilot experiment that we did before the National Health Insurance, the Dangbehewa Minamikpe, we were actually doing door-to-door. We had community-based registrars. They would go to the home, and then that increases their compliance.
According to her, processes through which funds are transferred could also be modified to ensure prompt payment to service providers.
VAT is collected through shops, through vendors, and so on by the Ghana Revenue Authority. It will then go to the Ministry of Finance. I don't know if it still happens that way. In the past, it would pass through Ministry of Health, get to NHIS. So again, we could look at the routes by which we transmit that money and see if we could shorten some of those processes. The National Health Insurance Fund was not only used directly to do the reimbursements and so on. Some of it was being used for other things. A little will go to support MOH for some program or the other. Some was going to some MP's fund and so on. Act 852 has limited that you can only use 10% of the money for this purpose. I would suggest that at this critical period, even that 10% for now, we should put it down and let 100% of that money only go to pay providers or to administer the NHIS. Nowhere else must that money go.
Professor Irene Japon explained health centers go through a lot of frustration if they are not paid in time, as they end up running short of essential materials needed to save lives and prevent transmission of diseases. According to her, paying healthcare providers should be a priority if the scheme is to work efficiently.
An NGO, Food Sovereignty Ghana, has lashed out at government's plans to open up the Ghana food and buffer stock for private investment, a sharp rebuttal to the Agricultural Minister's disclosure in a statement signed by Deputy Chairman of the group, Duke Tego, described it as a move against farmers in Ghana and government's inability to prioritize.
According to Food Sovereignty Ghana, a change from National Food and Buffer Stock Company to a commodity exchange puts the Ghanaian farmer at a disadvantage. In direct questions to the Agric Minister and Parliament, the group asked if the intention is to, quote, create a whole new class of profiteering middlemen and gamblers, unquote. They indicated this will affect Ghana's food security and livelihood of farmers, whilst enriching a capable few who they described as gamblers. Food Sovereignty Ghana says putting the National Food and Buffer Stock in that position will hand over food supply to multinational agribusiness corporations and their foundations, who could control Ghana's farmers and agriculture more easily. They said the move will be a win-win proposition for gamblers and exploiters who have contributed to driving up food prices worldwide. The group said although the Minister of Food and Agriculture may be right about inadequate funds, they are advocating prioritization instead of completely refusing to fund the company.
Still on this issue, the Minister of Food and Agriculture, Clement Humado, says ongoing public discourse on GMO foods is largely misinformed. Government, through the Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation Ministry last year, announced that Ghana will soon be adopting genetically modified foods. But this has met various dissenting views. Clement Humado says that argument should have started before passage of the Seed and Fertilizer Law in 2010.
Under the Plant and Fertilizer Act 2010, a person shall not import, export, produce or deal in any seed in commercial quantities unless that person is under a non-transferable registration. The Agricultural Ministry reserves the right to suspend, cancel or modify such registrations if it deems fit. The Agric Minister said concerns raised by a section of the public should have been in 2010, indicating that the current bill in Parliament is only marginally linked to GMOs.
And the Plant Breeders Bill is only to recognize the innovations of plant breeders. They are, the effort that they have put into coming out with specific varieties which are high yielding and have attributes against pests and diseases. So this actually is not the time to bring the GMO issue in. But then there are some aspects of the Plant Breeders Bill that touch on the seed law. So that is where some people are taking it from.
Said a plant breeders law is necessary to set up regulatory institutions, or else GMO seeds will be circulated in the country undetected.
If a farmer goes to Burkina Faso, he sees his colleague farmer, and then he or she takes some seeds. He comes to across the border into Ghana. The port health people at Paga, our phytosanitary unit people at Paga, will never be able to tell whether that seed is bringing is a GMO seed or not. If we do not have those laws, if we do not have those institutions in place, how can we determine whether a seed or planting material is GMO or not? And that is where we now take a decision as a country that this one is not good for our farming system.
Espousing his position on GMO foods, Clement Omado said, from a scientist's point of view, there's nothing wrong. However, as a member of government, societal concerns are paramount.
It will only create problem where the engineers chemically restructure a gene. But when you just go and take a biological gene from one living organism and you put it in the other, as a scientist, I don't see how that can create problem. As a politician, I have to take every concern on board. And that is why the issue has gone to Parliament.
When asked about processed GMO foods already on the market, the minister said that is out of his jurisdiction. The Plant Breeders Bill sent to Parliament has currently been suspended pending investigations to substantiate concerns raised by a large section of society.
And let's go to Parliament now. The Speaker of Parliament has directed that the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection be invited to the House to discuss solving the challenges associated with headquarters in major cities in the country. The Speaker also intends forming a committee to address the age-long problem which contributed negatively to rural-urban migration. The request was made after a statement on the matter by a Member of Parliament for Ofoikrom on the floor of the House.
The MP for Ofoikrom, Elizabeth Ajiman, was concerned about the plight of the headquarters, especially children, popularly referred to as Kayaye.
It is very disturbing, Mr. Speaker, seeing girls below the age of 10 years carrying such heavy loads on their heads, which many adults would not dare. To make matters worse, they carry these loads for very long distances, some with babies at their backs, after which payment is determined by the owner of the goods.
MP for Salaga South, Ahaji Abubakar Dey, who claims about 60% of the Kayaye are from his constituency, said lack of basic amenities in the northern parts of the country is a major cause.
When a young girl gets up 4 a.m., she has to walk about 7 miles to look for water. Immediately she gets the water and come back, she has to go for firewood. Now this young girl will go through all these troubles, walk 7 miles to look for just water to come to the family. When she succeeds in bringing the water, she has to go to look for firewood. When she brings it, she has to go to the farm. Now you tell me, Mr. Speaker, if you go through this struggling situation and you have to come to Accra or Kumasi to do Kayaye, where you can even get a tap water and go, which one would you choose? Good water, roads, infrastructure, and jobs.
His concerns were re-echoed by other members of the House, prompting the Speaker to make a suggestion.
The Minister for the Ministry for Gender, Children and Social Protection should come and brief the House at a committee of the whole, and then we can interrogate the issues. At that step, after that, then if the House feels that we move forward to set up a committee, then we set up a committee, and then we'll decide which agencies or which committees will constitute that committee.
The House also commemorated the 49th death anniversary of J.B. Dankwa. Still in Parliament, the Danish ambassador to Ghana, Majid Thompson, paid a courtesy call on the Speaker to inform the House of the impending visit by the Budget Committee of the Danish Parliament to Ghana. It is also to improve on the cordial relationship between the two parliaments. Sitting continues tomorrow.
And Abigail Adumakoenchi is next with business.
Time now to do some business reports with me, Abigail Adumakoenchi. Now, ahead of the Central Bank's first Monetary Policy Committee meeting for 2014 on February 6, some economists are asking the committee to impress on government to increase the country's productive base as well as increase exports to help address the depreciation of the cedi in the long term. They are also asking the MPC to ensure banks give clients confidence to deposit foreign currencies and control the repatriation of profits by multinational companies to reduce the pressure on the cedi.
The persistent fall of the local currency pushed the Bank of Ghana to inject $20 million onto the market, but analysts say the measure is not sustainable.
The demand for the dollar is high, and then the supply is low, and then the central government pumps the 20 million. It meets the demand at a point. Okay, so those that will be demanding will get it, but the next time the same demand will come, and the central bank will then have to dig again to throw in another 20 million. And once that is demanded, the same amount will come. You know, the same demand pressure will come again, and it has to continuously be doing that. But we don't have that kind of enough reserves. So over time, all the reserves will be depleted. And that was spell doom for this country.
One of the key measures that central banks adopt when you have the currency depreciating more than the expected or anticipated is to actually inject or actually fund the market. But what maybe the issue is that is the 20 million enough to offset, the funding deficit in the FS market, and that's one. Clearly is not something that it is obvious that is not enough.
They, however, in the short term expect the central bank to introduce tighter monetary policies which will subsequently lead to an increment in the policy rate. They are expecting the MPC to introduce measures that will strongly arrest the free fall of the local currency and will not come back to hurt the economy.
The banking system must also, try to bring some kind of confidence in the people, in their customers, to deposit their foreign currency. What happened last year where the central bank brought instruction for banks to keep about 9% of their foreign deposit as reserves, where the banks were charging some kind of commission for withdrawing your own foreign currency, actually did a lot of harm to the system, because you put your dollar there, you expect to take it back, you go to the bank and the bank says, we don't have the dollar to give to you. So next time if I receive dollars, I will not put it in my foreign account. I'll keep it at home and then use it. And so the system, you are depriving the system of dollars, because once you put it in the deposit account and somebody needs it, he can always get it.
Foreign capital comes with its own problems because you have low gross savings too. In fact, as a country, our gross savings is very low, and therefore you can't do away with foreign capital. And again, when people bring foreign capital into the country, I think that preventing them from maybe engaging in income transfers is not something that should be encouraged, because it has an effect, a medium-term effect of actually discouraging people for bringing capital into the economy.
They also urged the central bank to strictly regulate the activities of the trading currency outside the banking system. Abigail Adumakoenchi for Joynews.
Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana has announced measures to help halt the free fall in the cedi's value, warning of pecuniary sanctions, jail terms, suspension and revocation of the operating license of persons who flout the rules. It's also directed that all transactions in the country should be conducted in Ghana cedis in compliance with Bank of Ghana notice dated October 10, 2012. In a statement issued by the Central Bank on Tuesday, it said it has revised rules governing the operations of foreign exchange accounts and foreign currency accounts with effect from February 5, 2014. The Central Bank has therefore directed authorized dealers not to sell foreign exchange for the credit of foreign exchange accounts or foreign currency accounts of their customers. It also stated that cash withdrawals over the counter from foreign exchange accounts and foreign currency accounts shall only be permitted for travel purposes outside Ghana and shall not exceed $10,000. It has also directed banks not to grant any foreign currency linked facility to customers who are not foreign exchange earners. All exporters are also required to collect and repatriate in full the proceeds of the exports to their local banks within 60 days of shipment. Economist with Data Bank Samson Aklego, however, says the measures are not market-friendly.
I think it's a bit tight and very rigorous, and I'm even concerned that it's not very market-friendly. But I will say that these measures will be pushed aggressively, and the central bank will be thinking that these measures would help to stabilize the city. One of the key things is that people have been discouraged to hold foreign exchange accounts and then, of course, foreign currency account as well. I think that policies that are not pro-market in our current circumstances may not be very effective.
Well, tax policy advisor at the Ministry for Finance and Economic Planning, Dr. Delali, says government's revenue is hampered by abuses in tax exemptions. He says governments last year lost about 700 million cedis to tax exemptions, adding that the ministry is set to critically monitor tax incentives to avoid abuses and diversion.
National tax policies and revenue performances impacts negatively on budget deficits. Although Ghana has been recording fiscal deficits in recent times, an 8.5% target is set to be achieved by the close of the year. But tax policy advisor at the Finance Ministry, Dr. Delali, says abuses in tax exemptions are affecting the national purse.
What is more worrying, which we have now cancelled, is when you are giving the exemption, instead of using those commodities to do the work intended, then you divert them into the official market and compete with other importers. Last year, it came as much as about 600 to 700 million. It's debatable. If you want a road, you have to give. If there's a donor project, if the government can raise the city counterpart, then it has to give into exemption. But the worry is that if they are for genuine projects and we don't abuse, maybe we can contain.
He was also worried Ghana has a high level of injustice in taxation, as only 2 million people pay taxes out of the eligible 6 million taxpayers. The need to clean up the tax collection system brought Oxfam International, a worldwide development organization, to meet tax experts to find ways of ensuring tax fairness in the country. For Oxfam, ineffective tax collection systems are costly to a nation.
A study which was recently done identified that if there were effective tax collection systems, then around $269 billion could be raised every year. And that's more than twice the level of total spending on aid internationally. So you can see that if we had effective global and national tax systems, then perhaps we wouldn't need an international aid regime.
He added that fair taxation hugely raises revenues and tackles poverty.
And that'll be all by way of business reports. I'm Abigail Adumakwenchi. Do stay tuned for more business news.
So news making rounds in the world of sports, and FIFA has ordered Tunisian giants Esperance to pay Brecum Chelsea $1.4 million plus 5% interest relating to the unpaid transfer fee of striker Emmanuel. A legal cost reported to be in the region of $100,000 has been awarded against Esperance. Clottey was transferred to the Blood and Gold in September 2012 after the Ghana striker put up a sterling performance in the CAF Champions League where he scored 12 goals. But Esperance have since not paid a dime to the Ghanaian club, who have made several unsuccessful attempts to retrieve the money. The decision of single judge and chairman of FIFA Player Status Committee, Joe Thompson of England, ruled that Esperance pay the amount in addition to 5% interest calculated since 15 September 2012. Aspirants have 1 month to pay the money from the date of notification. Sanctions available in default of the judgment after 5th March 2014 will be relegation to the lowest division in Tunisia and suspension of their license to conduct player transfers to and from the club. While All Stars piled more pressure on Mohamed Polo and Hartlepool, definitely, after beating them 3-0 at the Cross Sports Stadium in the First Capital Plus Premier League this afternoon. Goals from Samuel Boateng, Abdul Ganiu and Paul Asari condemned the Phobians to their fifth defeat of this year's campaign. Here are some highlights of that game.
Formerly of Accra Great Olympics, before moving to Aduana Stars, where he won the league title with the Domabe side. That was in 2010. You know, the House of Folk Food, to see if he can be the game changer. Oleno Ashite has made as many as 6 starts and 5 as a substitute, and so this one, Daniel goes in for a low drive, and that's a goal! Oh, what a thunderous strike from Ismail Abdul Ghani! On the tip, clear the balls out. Once again, look at the bangers run, and once again, Hartlepool can get a goal here. Oh, and this ball just hitting the crossbar, but that was an unlucky movement there. And they still believe that Hartlepool can bounce back. Wow, Stars would have a chance here. And the shot comes in! Once again! Paul Asari scores and makes it 3-0 for Wow.
Right, so definitely that was the situation there for Accra Hartlepool. Very disturbing indeed. The fans are already calling for the head of Coach Mohamed Polo. Let's now check the results, the other results. Today we had a number of games played, and there you have it. You know already the story. Wild Stars beating Accra Hartlepool by 3-0. New Dubiasi beat the Adriano Stars by 1-0 at the Jemfis Park. Hazakas drew goalless with Amidayo's Professionals. Bechem United, they have the youngest coach currently in the league, Tom Strand. He managed to win his first game in the league by 2-0 against Kim Faisal. Heart of Lion, they have a new manager, of course, you know, a new owner, Randy Yabe, in charge of that. They managed to be Liberty Professionals by 2-0. Let's quickly look at how the table is looking like right now and how the results have impacted on that one. Not too much of a change, though. You can see clearly Kotoko, Ashanti Gold have not played, but they're still top there with 34 and 27 points respectively. Accra Hartlepool, where all the pressure is currently lie fourth. We have Azakas and Faith Mijema, while All Stars follow in that order with Bechem United on 8th. We look at the final part of the table right now, and it's New Dubiasi out there with 21 points. Liberty Professionals, Ken Faisal, Adriana Stars, and Medallas Professionals. Brecum Chelsea still in the relegation bracket there. It was 1 drops, and then you have Inter Allies. A number of teams yet to play the games right there. So we'll quickly do some updates as well on what's happening currently in the Copa del Rey. Real Madrid still on with a particular game and try to get that for you. We'll try and do that for you very quickly. Real Madrid are leading that game by 2-0. So just great news for the Real Madrid fans getting into the final of the Copa del Rey. That'll be all for sports tonight. My name is George Adijuni. Gifty will join us with some more. Have a good night.
Sports. This is show business. Now, after a shaky start to its first edition, the Musicians Union of Ghana has launched the second edition of the Ghana Music Week. The week, aimed at celebrating homegrown music, is under the theme positioning Ghanaian music as a heartbeat for tourism promotion.
For the Ghana Music Honors, ladies and gentlemen, goes to the late President of the Republic of Ghana, Professor John.
The maiden edition of the Ghana Music Week was nearly marred last year due as issues of accountability clouded the celebration of Ghanaian music. But in spite of last year's controversy, the Musician Union of Ghana, Musiga, is back this year with the second edition of the Music Week. President of Musiga, Bais Osei Kufuor, popularly known as Obo, speaks about what will be different about this year's celebration.
Last year we had the award show being the climax of the Music Week. This year we have the Ghana All-Star Live Concert, which is the event at the stadium, being the climax of the Music Week. Another key thing that is new is last year the whole event was stationed at the National Theatre and then the stadium for the Ghana All-Star Concert. This year the Music Week is moving out to different places in Accra. So
Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts Minister Elizabeth Ofuswejari, who was at the launch of the celebration, commended Musiga for the initiative. According to her, the ministry was working hard to improve the country's creative arts industry. She added that government is sourcing funds to construct a state-of-the-art multipurpose auditorium to host events.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, has initiated a process through Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts to assess a Turkish Exim Bank loan for the construction of an ultra-modern performance regional theatre in Kumasi. Funding arrangements and design works are ongoing as I speak to you now to ensure early commencement of this project. I have been to Turkey personally to see a kind that we will soon put in Kumasi.
Musica is, however, urging everybody to patronize the Music Week, which runs from March 38 to help promote Ghanaian music.
Well, we wish them well on that one, but that's it for Showbiz. That's it for the bulletin. Before we go, a look again at our top stories. Experts have expressed worry a lack of synchronization of multiple identification cards in Ghana could lead to data misinformation and an increase in criminal activities. Visitors to Edunfe in the Asante Akim South District said they would extend their stay until they get their share of the miracle water. Many thanks for your time. My name is Gifty Ando Apia. Please stay for PM Express.